I've been having a grand old time in Switzerland, but it's time to transition from cross to crescent on this trip, as I fly from Switzerland to Istanbul. I'm a huge fan of Turkish Airlines, both in business class, which I've reviewed 3 times already, as well as in economy. But the only time I've ever reviewed economy so far on this channel was a rough red-eye to Dubai. Today, I'll be able to actually enjoy the flight this afternoon from Zurich to Istanbul. And boy, do I ever. As we'll see, Turkish's short-haul product is fantastic, so much better than mainline European carriers. So much better that I actually think it may be worth it to fly out of your way to connect in Istanbul rather than fly the likes of British Airways or KLM. Let's see what I mean on this flight on Turkish's A321. I started my day in Zermatt, taking the Matterhorn Gotthardbahn down to Brig, and then boarding another twin decks from there to Bern, to Zurich Airport. I'd been able to check in online just fine, and had a digital boarding pass, saying that I was seated in seat 15A. But before the flight, I received an email that my seat had changed, not for this flight, but for my subsequent Turkish Airlines flight. I opened up to see the Turkish Airlines app had updated the seats on both my flights at the same time. That's strange. I was now seated in 15F. When at the gate, I asked the very friendly like last time gate agents, and they genuinely had no idea what had happened. Initially, they had hypothesized that there had been an equipment swap. There hadn't been. Next, they postulated my original seat must be inoperable. It wasn't. Someone else was booked into it. This game of musical chairs continued on my subsequent flight as well. They gave me instead seat 19F, where I'd have the whole row to myself. Again, the ground staff in Zurich are great. I took the train from the main terminal to the international concourse. For old time's sake, let's check on that Air Canada flight to Toronto, and yep, it's late again. Because of course it is. The unbroken streak of late Air Canada flights continues, even when I'm not even flying them. With Priority Pass, you have your choice of the Prime Class Lounge or Aspire Lounge in the Zurich International Terminal. I went to the Aspire Lounge. All lounges, like the Swiss ones we saw last time here, are upstairs. The lounge was fine, pretty small and fairly quiet. Sadly, the doors to the outside deck were locked. There were some drinks and incredibly light snacks, but I think I'd check out the other lounges next time. I headed down to the gate just as the prior flight was deplaning. Boarding was done by lining up by row number for those of us without status. Turkish has several different A321 variants and configurations. They share the same key features. There's a dedicated business class section with distinct seats, not just European business class. Economy is in a 3-3 configuration. These are slimline seats, but for whatever reason, I find them more comfortable than most other European carriers. Legroom was more than ample. The real star is the in-seat entertainment with a touchscreen and a remote, which is the same system as their long-haul flights. The flight was hardly full, so boarding 40 minutes early was quite unnecessary, and was done quite quickly. Turkish's stylized safety video played, followed by a "So Turkish" tourism ad campaign. There's no need to advertise travel to Turkey for those already on board. I'm also glad that the video had been updated to reflect the current political situation for while I was there.
So Turkish.
In the shadow of Istanbul's 4th century aqueduct, police pepper sprayed young protesters.
Flying time to Istanbul was 2 hours and 30 minutes at 37,000 feet. Wi-Fi is free for business class and for those with elite status, and available for purchase for everyone else. The entertainment selection was quite extensive, with 191 movies and 531 TV shows. It's no Singapore or Emirates, but I think that's more than enough. The other star feature of the flight is food. Unlike many other short-haul flights, Turkish serves you a meal. I've raved about Turkish's food before, and again, they hit it out of the park with this. It was a simple dish of grilled chicken, served with rice, veggies, and yogurt sauce. The chicken was incredible and flavorful. It came with bread, butter, and a choice of beverage, with chocolate cake for dessert. It was served with real glassware. Yes, the chicken may have been a tad on the dry side, but this is the best food I've had flying within Europe, and that's including comparing it against business class offerings by British Airways, KLM, Lufthansa, and even Air France. The lavatory in the back was fairly clean and of decent size, which sadly you can't take for granted these days. After the quick flight, we descended over the Black Sea to touchdown in Istanbul Airport. One thing that didn't happen was people getting up and grabbing their stuff while the plane was still taxiing, which has happened so many times before. That's now a serious, finable offense in Turkey, and they reminded us of that fact just after touchdown. As we taxied, we saw something else rather interesting: two 777 Indigo planes owned and operated by Turkish Airlines. Indigo has been trying to get into long-haul flying and has contracted out Turkish Airlines to do it. Political tension between Turkey and India over Pakistan have repeatedly jeopardized this arrangement, so no idea if that'll still be a thing when you watch this video. So, Turkish economy on the A321. It's the best economy product in Europe. And yeah, I know you can debate if Turkey is really part of Europe, but Istanbul Airport is on the western side of the Bosphorus, so it counts in my eyes. The seats are better padded and have more legroom, in-seat entertainment, and you get a shockingly good free meal. It'd definitely be a bit out of the way connecting in Istanbul if you're traveling to or within mainland Europe, but if you're actually interested in visiting Istanbul, it's a no-brainer. Now I'm off to meet up with my girlfriend who flew separately to Istanbul for our first intercontinental adventure together. I'll see you next time when I return to Frankfurt on Turkish's A330 in economy to see if it's worth taking a wide body whenever possible.